Hi everyone, Brian from Bear Bull Traders here. It is Sunday, August the 14th, and this of course is the weekend video. We will take a look at what happened last week, and then we'll try to look ahead and see what we got coming down the pipe for this week. So let's get down to it. So let's start out by taking a look at what happened last week. And of course, the CPI numbers came out Wednesday. That was the highly anticipated numbers, and they came out flat month over month, showing inflation does seem to be cooling a little bit. So traders took that as a positive sign that maybe the tightening cycle could be coming to an end, and bid the markets up pretty much the last 3 days of the week. Other thing that was really notable this week was the meme stocks, or the highly shorted stocks, seem to be coming back into play here. So you saw AMC, Bed Bath & Beyond, GME, all got caught a bid this week, and so the number of the other highly shorted stocks with over 30% short interest, seem to be really back in play. So that was kind of entertaining and interesting. You can see here on the indexes how we did all week. Really pretty positive week, mostly due to the CPI number that came out Wednesday, and we just went ripped higher from there. The small caps, of course, doing the best, 5% increase over the week here on the IWM. The stocks that seem to be doing the best: energy, financials, and materials, biggest gainers. Energy and materials, obviously a sign of a robust economy. And technology, healthcare, consumer staples, they were gainers, but they were the weakest gainers on the week. So again, consumer staples, sort of a safety trade. Technology not doing as well, kind of interestingly. 10-year, we kind of just edged up higher on both the 10 and the 2-year. We're still inverted, which is still a sign that possible recession coming. US dollar up a little on the week after this pullback, and Bitcoin seems to be catching a bit of a bid here. It does seem to be on the verge of kind of breaking out, so we'll see if it can make a move up here further this week. And so before we get into analyzing some of the charts here, as always, I like to throw in this quick ad for my book on Amazon, Profiting as an Active Trader, Rules, Strategies, and Routines of an Active Stock and Option Trader. It's available there, and it's been up since May. So let's get on to taking a look at some of the charts here. And we'll start out with some of the treasury notes. You can see here, not really much action here on the 2-year or the 10-year. We just sort of edged up a little bit on both of these yield curves. So nothing much to report there, just sort of flatlining it right now. Transports made a nice move on Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday. You're pretty much going to see this across the board here. Friday, a little bit of a light volume day, but really has had a nice run up since since the middle of July, where we really sort of made this second bottom here. And again, pretty much shows that on just about every chart here. Middle of July, just started to make a nice move up. We've gone through some of these moving averages. This next trend line on the transport should be interesting. Volume pretty light here as we go through the summer, not unusual at all. Again, same story with the Dow. We are coming up to this 200-day moving average. Still looking pretty strong from a momentum perspective, but I suspect that we may be running out of a little bit of room here as we come up to this area of prior resistance, which was where we broke down from. So prior resistance, still resistance, and the 200-day moving average, of course, as well. The Dow, again, on a monthly, breaking out of this trend line, still had a really nice little run here. The Qs are still, they're up into an area where we may see some further resistance, but again, we still seem to be trending higher. The trend is your friend, and the trend still seems to be higher on a weekly, still looking really good. Broke out of this trend line, ascending trend line. Volume has been dropping off, but momentum still there on the weekly for sure. The spiders, again, sort of same story as the Dow. We just seem to be up into an area where there was prior resistance, and now we're maybe getting into an area where there'll be prior resistance again, especially with this 200-day moving average. Again, we seem to be a pretty over. We're in this overbought area on the stochastics, and we're getting up overbought a little bit on the RSI as well. So maybe a little bit of due for a little bit of a pause. And on the IWM we actually broke through the 200-day moving average, and this area here, sort of prior support, became resistance here. So clearing 200, just cleared 200 on Friday. Again, getting pretty overbought here, maybe due for a little bit of a pullback, but trend overall still higher. Sort of general comment for all the markets. And you can see here the VIX, I mean, we are literally right down at this low from back in April. Just really, again, no fear in the market, really oversold on the stochastics. So we'll see what happens here. The dollar, again, we're still sort of in a downtrend. You can see here we're you can draw a line. I won't draw the line here for the sake of time, but you can see we're still trending lower, but maybe holding in this area here where there was where we broke out from. So the dollar just sort of hanging around right now. And again, Bitcoin just seems to be, you can see this trend line. We are sort of holding this trend line that's sloping from lower left to upper right. This 24,500 level seems to be a bit of an area, but once we get through there, there's almost no volume here that was traded in that area. So you can see how we could easily move up through this back up to 30,000 if we do get a big move here. So Bitcoin looking somewhat constructive. And stocks I've got on watch here. I'm still watching Apple. I still think we've had this really strong run up on Apple. This is probably, I'm not sure which is driving which. The indexes or some of these heavy tech names that are just driving the market higher, pulling it. But some of the internals looking pretty good as well. Some of the stocks the moving averages, stocks trading above their 50 is moving up as well. So that's sort of more of a good sign of internals, stronger internals for the market. But you can see here this sort of 175, 180 level where we double topped. We are getting pretty close to that area on Apple. Again, we're overbought on the RSI and stochastics. So I'm thinking we're probably due for another one of these sort of choppy sideways trading on Apple. BABA, again, I mentioned this last week, it does seem to be putting in a bit of a bottom here. This 88 level is double bottom. This pullback as we came and bounced higher, 90 seems to be an area where there should be some support there. Always a little bit nervous about trading these Chinese stocks. I'd flagged this last week. I really did miss this breakout, this 5250 breakout on Friday. Unfortunately, it's kind of too late to trade it now, but that was maybe some people had that. I just missed my alert call on that one. CHPT, I mean, had a big move Friday just because of this, I think because they signed the bill and everyone got excited, plus Friday was a strong day. So looks like 20 could be an area where there could be some challenges to get through on the charge point. Capri I really like. Capri is a company that holds a bunch of different stocks like Jimmy Choo, some of the higher end stuff. A lot of their revenue is based on is offshore. So I mean it does look like and another point is that these higher end brands tend to be less sensitive to downturns in the economy. The rich people always seem to have money to spend. So this one looks like 5250 could be an interesting move if it breaks out from there. Bottom line. Disney. So traded Disney last week. Both Artie and I traded Disney. Reported Thursday. Really popped up and then came off as high. Great opportunity to. I shorted the 125 calls, and they went out worthless. So that was good. I already did the 124s. Forward, I'm still long dated options on this. It's looking really good. My options are 14s, so they're way down here. So I'm well in the money on those. Intel, like kind of, it's just looks like it's maybe finding about a bit of a bottom here. So maybe it's a longer term trade, but Intel sort of 35 levels. So it looks like an area that as long as it doesn't break below there, it could be good. Some of the biotechs seem to be catching a bid. We did break out from this prior level of resistance, which became resistance here, and then we had a nice move last week. We look like we're on the verge of breaking through 13 on the biotechs, which could take us up to 15. So I'm long some of that right now from just over 10 and still holding there. Uber, I mentioned this last week, 33 looks like it could be some pretty significant resistance. It's right at the 200-day. We kind of didn't do much on Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, even though markets pushed higher. Volume started to drop off. We're really overbought, so I still think possibility at least to sell some maybe 34 calls next week. I'm watching oil because oil seems to have double bottomed and was off a little on Friday. But when you look at the energy sector as a whole, we look like we're on the verge of breaking out here. So the reason I'm watching oil particularly is if we do start to move up again and we kind of move through this, I'm going to call it this 80 level as the year goes on. And I think it's, this will fire inflation again. Everything we touch is based on transportation pretty much. So anything that has to be moved, if oil prices go up, transportation costs go up, and those prices get passed on to consumers. So plus if the price of the gas at the pump goes up as well, consumers don't really like that either. So I'm going to really keep an eye on oil. Right now it's just trading in a range, but just watching this and watching the energy sector sort of move up here, which might be indicating that oil might still be in play. So yeah, something to watch there. So that's about it. Well, let's wrap it up. All right, well, let's wrap things up. Put a bow on it here. This is where we are right now with all these indexes. You can see here, put up the support and resistance levels. We are pretty close to a lot of these resistance levels, like the SPY, only 3 points away. IWM kind of in the middle there, but and the Dow up pretty close to an area of resistance. So the trend does seem to look like we want to go higher here. We are looking at some economic events this week. We've got the HB housing index on Monday, and there'll be more housing data like mortgages and new building permits all coming out on Tuesday, which will give us a read on the housing sector. The Fed will be releasing their minutes on Wednesday, so people will be looking, kind of parsing through that. But we already know what they've said. And we do still have some interesting earnings. We got Lee on Monday and Weber before the market open, and then we're getting into some pretty heavy retail earnings as we get through the week here. Walmart, Home Depot, Target, Lowe's, TJ Maxx. Got a Cisco Technology, AMAT there, and Kohl's and BJ. Again, more retailers here. Friday will be interesting. We've got Deere, Foot Locker, and Buckle. So lots of retailers coming up this week, smattered with a few technology sectors. There's Ross as well, shipping, ZIM, and Deere, which will be interesting. So a lot of still some interesting earnings coming up this week, and stay tuned, see what happens. And again, see you tomorrow morning. As you know, 8 o'clock we start the pre-market open, and 9:30 we'll be trading the open with our members. So have a great rest of the weekend, everyone. Well, hopefully we'll see you tomorrow morning. Bye for now.